Hello everyone, today I'm here to share with you my May book haul. And yes, it is a large book haul. It's over 20 books yet again. Now, there was a lot of new releases this month. I got some awesome book boxes and I have a few arcs to show you. So I'm going to break this up into 3 parts. First, I'm going to show you the books I bought because I bought a decent amount. I'm going to show you the books I got sent in boxes. Lastly, I'm going to show you the arcs and books I got set for review. So like I said, I bought a fair amount of books this month because May was a huge month, as you know, for book releases. Like everything came out this month, so my wallet is empty but my heart is full of love for these books. This one I'm going to show you is the most recent read I have, and that is Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Dark Artifices series. I will say this is my favorite of her series. I feel like the writing style is so much more better. I feel like and it just jumps right in. You don't really have to deal with a lot of history and learning about things because you already know a lot of the characters, and I just really love this book. I love this book. It broke my heart a ton, but it was so worth it. It's a big book. It's a huge book if you can see, but I loved every second of it. Review of this should be coming up late this week or maybe next week. Either way, a review will definitely be up very, very soon on it. The next book is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. Of course, I read this book and I loved it. I will say it's not my favorite book of the series though. This is the third and final book, technically from Farrah's point of view, of A Court of Thorns and Roses series. My favorite will always be Court of Mist and Fury. That book was so amazing. This one was still really good. It didn't fulfill all of my expectations. If you want to see more of my thoughts, I have my review up already. Go check it out. I just want to say these two books have the exact amount of pages. They are both 699 pages pretty much on the dot. This is how it's supposed to be printed. Like, you look at this and you're like, that's a big book. You feel accomplished. And then you look at this one and it's pretty small. Like, let's look at the difference here. Look at that. It's because Bloomsbury has now decided to print on these really thin pages, and I really hate that. Why? Because when I look at my book, I want to feel accomplished when I read it. You know, this one doesn't give enough justice as this one does, so I don't know if I'm the only one that doesn't like it. Let me know if you don't, or if you do. That annoys me. Either way, I love both of these books. These are my 2 most anticipated books of the entire year, and they already came out, so I'm a happy girl, but also sad because I have to wait so long for each, like the next installment. Ugh. The next book I bought is Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. This is an adult mystery thriller, if you will. She also wrote The Girl on the Train, which was hugely popular a few years ago, and I really enjoyed that one, and I have read this one, and I have a review as well on it if you want to check it out. I really enjoyed this one. I don't know. I think I enjoyed The Girl on the Train more. I felt like it had more of a thriller mystery feel than this one. This one is very confusing because it has many different points of views. If you didn't know, basically this book is about a woman that is found dead in like this river, and this river runs through this town, and it's like known as like the death river. Like, so many women have had their deaths there, whether it be suicide or somebody kills them. So really this woman's death really sparks up a lot of things throughout this town of whether she did kill herself, whether she was killed, and things like that. It has so many different mysteries in it, and it's very intricate, and I did really enjoy it. It was a very solid book. I did like it, but the one thing I didn't like was there was like 12 point of views, which got really, really confusing. And then I have Always and Forever Laura Jean by Jenny Han. This is the 3rd and final book to All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy. I also have read and reviewed this one as well. I've done really well with my reviews this month. This one is not my favorite book of the trilogy yet again, as I talked about other books, but I still really enjoyed it. I love reading Laura Jean. If you didn't know what this series is about, it is pretty much about Laura Jean. The first book really follows her as she writes all these letters to her previous crushes, and she'll say, you know, why she liked them and her feelings, and then she'll even address them, and she'll put them in a shoebox and tuck it under her bed, you know, and she's like, I'm done with that. And then one day she comes home to find all these letters have actually been mailed out, so she has to deal with all the ramifications that come from that, and it sort of stems from there, but really it's ultimately a series about Laura Jean growing up, going through high school. This one really centers around her getting accepted into college, and her boyfriend and her family. It's really, really adorable series. I still really enjoyed it, and I will always love reading about Laura Jean and the Song Sisters. The next book I have is Flame in the Mist by Renee Ahdieh, and this is the first book in her duology, I want to say. I'm never sure with how many books are going to be in a series, so I think this is a duology. I also have read and reviewed this one as well. This is all about, a lot of people have compared this to a Mulan retelling, and I can tell you that it's not a Mulan retelling. The only notion of it's kind of like Mulan is our main character disguises herself as a boy to infiltrate this black clan. That's the only notion it has to Mulan. Other than that, it's really not a Mulan retelling at all. So this follows Mariko, and she is the daughter of a prominent samurai, and she is set to be married to the Emperor's consort's son, and on the way to meet her future groom, fleet gets kind of attacked and she's the only survivor, and she learns that she was the one that was supposed to be killed. And so she infiltrates this clan called the Black Clan because she thinks they are the ones that try to kill her, and she disguises herself as a boy to try to learn more information about them, to try to learn why she was supposed to be killed, and it goes from there. It's a really, really awesome book, a very awesome fantasy with samurai. It sets in feudal Japan, and I really, really enjoyed it, so definitely check out my review. But I love like any Renee Ahdieh books, like they're so good. My last set of books that I bought, I have not yet read. Those I have all read. These I have not, just so you're forewarned. I have The Whole Thing Together by Anne Brashares. This is her newest release. If you don't know, Anne Brashares wrote the Sister of the Traveling Pants series, which is one of my favorite series ever. I read it when I was around 14 and I just loved it. This one is kind of weird, where it's about like these two families that intertwine. It's like, it's all about Sasha and Ray, and Sasha and Ray both spend their summers at like their New Jersey beach house, I believe, only they're like, they share the same room, they share the same stuff, only they have never met. Like Sasha's dad used to be married to Ray's mom or something like that, and the marriage is very, very bad. They had children resulting from that marriage, and then they divorced, and the only thing they could agree on is like sharing the beach house. So it's all about, I think, how that family comes together again, or intricacy and things like that. It's all about mixed families, and I've heard, honestly, not so many good things about it. I started listening to the audiobook of it. Wasn't really feeling the audiobook, so I'm gonna try to physically read it. And yeah, I'm hoping it'll be good, but from the reviews, I'm not too sure, but it sounds like it's gonna be good. It sounds like a perfect beachy read. I mean, look at the cover. They're all on the beach, and yeah, we'll have to see. I'm hoping, but I'm not optimistic. If you've read it, let me know your thoughts. Next, my husband actually got me a book for Mother's Day, and he got me the new edition of Quidditch Through the Ages. They released all these new editions, and I definitely want them, but I couldn't justify buying them for my own because I already have a set, and I feel like, you know, I already have it. Like, I could use that money to buy new books, but either way, he got this one for me. I really enjoyed this edition much more than the one I own. It's much more colorful, has more intricacy. Oh, look, even on the inside, it's got like the hoop. That's awesome. But yeah, I'm excited that he got it for me, but he also got me, this is not a book, but it kind of falls under the book spectrum, and that is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the Blu-ray edition. Of course, I had to own this. I don't own many DVDs, but if it's Harry Potter, like Phantoms I'm behind, I'm definitely going to own it. So, yay. My husband knows me very, very well. The weight of my heart is Harry Potter. That is for sure. The next book I bought was 100% a cover buy, but upon buying it, I was doing research on the reviews on it, and everybody loves this book, and that is The Garden of Small Beginnings by Abby Wexman. I mean, look at this cover. It is so beautiful. This is about a woman named Lillian who's been a single mother for 3 years. Her husband died in a car accident, and she has gone through a mental breakdown and some random suicide thoughts, and she's just now getting the hang of being a widow, and she starts to really find solace in gardening, and so she starts to garden, and her daughters start to join her, and it's all about that. I think it's like about, you know, finding yourself after such tragedy has struck you. And reviews alone, I never saw one single review on Goodreads, and I looked through a lot that was less than 4 stars, which is pretty good. Goodreads can be a mixed bag, you know, because everyone has different opinions. So I'm very excited to read this one. It's probably gonna break my heart. The next book I bought, I got for like $3 at Barnes & Noble, because I'm a sucker for, you know, just filling up my TBR, and that is Making Up Your Mind by Jill Manson. This is an adult chick lit book, and I just bought it because the author, I've heard of Jill Manson, and I've always wanted to read a book by her, and upon looking at the reviews, I can understand why it was on $3, because it's all, the reviews aren't so great. Either way, I'm gonna try it. It is a very, very big chick lit book. Like, this is almost 500 pages, which is pretty hefty for a chick lit, and all I know is about this woman named Lottie who lives in her cottage with her 2 adorable kids, and she's on good terms with the ex-husband, and then she kind of falls in love with her boss. That's all I know about it. If you've read any of Jill Manson's book, please let me know. Is this the worst? Is this the best? What book of hers should I start off with? Barnes & Noble's clearance will just reel you in every single time. The last book I bought this month is a thriller book yet again. I'm getting more into thrillers, and that is The Hand That Feeds You by A.G. Rich. This is a very, very short one, if you can see, and this is all about a woman. Like, this is actually written by 2 authors named Amy Hempel and Jill Clement wrote this book in honor of their friend friend, Catherine Russell Rich, after she became involved with an intensely seductive man who was an imposter. Kathy died of cancer, sadly, so sadly, before she could write a novel about this experience herself. So this is all about this woman who falls in love with this man, and he kind of takes over her life. Like, he makes her not talk to her friends anymore. He makes her get on his cell phone plan. Like, he really just kind of takes her away from everything, and it's really like an awful, horrible relationship. And it sounds like it's going to be a very, very intense book. And again, I'll be honest with you, the reviews on this are not great, but I'm a novice to thrillers. It's short. It was on Cartwheel. I had to try to check it out because why not? Either way, if you've read this one, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Moving on to book boxes this month. The first one I'm going to show you is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I got this in my Outgrade unboxing. If you want to see the unboxing, it'll be right here. This cover is so beautiful. I love it. Like her paint splattered hands, like a little comic strip. This is a very interesting book. It's about a girl named Eliza who is very shy and she doesn't like talking to a lot of people like in real life, but she's actually the creator of this hugely, hugely popular web comic called Monstrous Sea. She meets a boy named Wallace who is actually Monstrous Sea's biggest fan fiction writer, which I'm gonna be honest with you, I read some fan fiction. I like Harry Potter fan fiction. That's my jam. That's usually the only fan fiction I'll read, but I still really enjoy it. And basically, Wallace doesn't believe that Eliza created this Monstrous Sea. They kind of fall in a relationship together, and Eliza's starting to come out of her shell slowly but surely. And then her identity gets released as the creator of Monstrous Sea, and things kind of go downhill from there. It talks a lot about mental health and things of that issues. And I believe there's even drawings in this book from actually the webcomic itself. You have a little bit of Monstrous Sea in there, which I really love when authors do that. And I've heard really, really good things about this book, so I'm excited to check it out for myself. The next book I have is Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith. I got this in my uppercase box, and I'm so happy I got it because I was going to buy this, honestly. It's all about a girl named Alice who doesn't believe in luck. She's desperately in love with her best friend Teddy, and she decides to buy Teddy a random lottery ticket for his birthday, and to his surprise, to both their surprise really, he wins, and they win a ton of money, and it really helps out a lot with their families because both of them aren't really that financially stable, and it's going good for them, and they realize that money's kind of not that great for them, and the relationship kind of starts going downhill from this. It says as they try to find their way back to each other, Alice learns more about herself than she could ever imagine, and about the unexpected ways in which luck and love sometimes intersect. I have read a few Jennifer E. Smith books in the past. I've read her Statistical Love of Probability, The Geography of Me and You, and another one when she had those cover schemes, and I didn't really like any of them, and I kind of gave up on her books. But then I heard about this one, and the plots kind of sounded good, so I'm excited to read it. I definitely plan to read it in June. It's on my TBR for June, but I'm apprehensive because again, the reviews aren't that great. They're kind of all over the place, but either way, I think this might be my last shot with this author. It sounds horrible, but I don't like certain books. That's okay. Either way, I'm gonna try to see if I like it or not. We shall see. And the last three books I have to show you all come from my YA literary box from Quarterly, which I got this month. And those boxes are curated by the author, so the author will have their own book in there, and they'll pick 2 other books that kind of inspire them and books that they really enjoy. And the author that curated it this quarter is Rory Harrison, so we got Looking for Group by Rory Harrison. This book sounds so much like my brother. It's ridiculous. It's all about this boy who had cancer in the past, and now he's in remission, and he only really finds solace with playing World of Warcraft, which sounds like my brother because that is exactly like my brother. My brother had cancer a long time ago. He's in remission. He's obsessed with Warcraft. Sounds just like my brother. Either way, in this book, is kind of feeding off of his cancer vibes. You know what I'm saying? It sounds horrible, but that's what she does. And he's just not in the best home, and he meets this girl in Warcraft, and they kind of go on an adventure together. I've heard really good things about this book, and I do want to read it. I'm apprehensive because I feel like I'm going to be reading about my brother in this book. But either way, I've heard good things about it. 2 books that Rory Harrison put in the box. The first one is The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily D. Danforth. I've heard a lot about this. This is an older book. This was very popular when I first started BookTube, which was a long time ago. It's all about a girl named Cameron Post, and her parents die suddenly in a car wreck, and she's kind of relieved almost from that because they'll never have to know that before, hours before her parents died in a car accident, Cameron actually kissed a girl. So Cameron gets sent to her aunt's house, which is very, very conservative, and it's all about her learning things about herself and her sexuality from that. This book is very, very highly praised. It's won the William Seymour Morris debut award finalist. So I've heard amazing things about this book, and I'm excited to finally read it. Like, it's been on my radar for such a long time. The last book that came in that box is the graphic novel Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. It has a whole bunch of pictures in it, obviously. This is about Nimona, who is an impulsive young shapeshifter with a knack for villainy, and it's about a Lord Ballister Blackheart with a villain with a vendetta. It's all about nemesis, dragons, science, symbolism. I've heard a lot of people talk about this graphic novel, and I don't read too many graphic novels, but I'm very, very excited to read this one. Like, I can't wait, honestly. The last set of books I have to show you are books that were sent to me by publishers, whether they be ARCs or books that are already out. So I am so lucky that publishers want to send me their books. Like, I do not take that for granted at all. So grateful. The first book I got, I did not think I was going to get approved for this ARC at all, but it surprised me in the mail. And that is Lucky in Love by Casey West. This book comes out July 25th, I want to say, and I love Casey West books. She's one of my favorite contemporary writers. She just writes like horrible contemporary books. This is almost just like Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith, where it deals a lot about the lottery. Is that like a thing to write about now? This is all about a girl, I forget her name, Maddie, who doesn't believe in luck, much like the other girl didn't believe in luck, and she randomly buys a lottery ticket one day and she wins, and her life obviously changes. Everybody's like coming up to her that she's never talked to, like, I'm your best friend and give me some money. But the only person that's really she can feel like she connect with and she can be herself around with not worrying about the money aspect is Seth, her funny, charming coworker at the local zoo. And he doesn't seem to be aware at all that Maddie's won this money, so he's actually treating her like a human being and not like a person that just won the lottery. Also very fearful that he's gonna learn her secret that she's like a millionaire. Either way, it sounds adorable. I love Casey West books, and I actually have one of her other books to read, and then this one, and I do plan to do an author specific video on Casey West, telling you all about her books, which ones are my favorite, which ones my least favorites, which ones I would recommend. So I'm excited for this. And this cover, look at the back of that, it's a heart balloon. It's so adorable. I'm a sucker for contemporary books. The next book Little Brown sent to me, and that is Invictus by Ryan Granon. This book does not come out till September, so I was shocked when this arrived on my door. Ryan Granon also wrote the Wolf by Wolf duology, which I love. It's one of my favorite duologies. This book really sounds very interesting, the fact that I don't understand it. I'll just read you the back little bit about it. It says, Doctor Who meets Guardians of the Galaxy in Invictus, a thrilling time travel novel. So I think this is, I can't really explain. It's about a guy, I think, that was born outside of time. He was a son of a time travel recorder and a gladiator living in Rome. So his birth defies the laws of nature, and he explores history. After failing his final time traveling exam, he takes a position commanding a ship with a crew of his friends as a part of a black market operation to steal valuables from the past. But during a heist, during the sinking Titanic, he meets a mysterious girl who seems to be one step ahead of him. So it's all about that. It sounds awesome. I'm definitely going to read this, not till probably closer to September because it's a far ways away, but I'm excited to read it because I love her books, and it's a pretty hefty one, so yeah, I'm pretty excited. The next book, Knopf book sent to me, I think that's how you pronounce it, and that is Words in Deep Blue by Cass Crowley. I love this cover. It's like a whole bunch of books. This is all about a girl named Rachel who's had a crush on this guy named Henry for such a long time, and right before Rachel moves away, she tucks a love letter into Henry's favorite book at his parents' bookshop, and then she moves away, and it's been a while and she has never heard anything back from Henry. He's never contacted her, so she thinks he's not into me, and then she moves back into town and starts working at his parents' bookshop. So they're side by side working together, and Rachel's going through some things. Her brother just died a few months ago in a drowning accident, and Henry's life's not going so good, so I'm pretty sure it's about, you know, learning to deal with grief and love and things like that. It's a very, very short book, but I am planning to read this in June. It comes out in like a few days, I think. Either way, it really sounds really adorable, and I'm excited to read it. The next two books Swoon Reads sent to me. I think there's so many different publishers under publishers' names. Either way, Swoon Reads sent them to me, so thank you so much for that. The first one they sent to me was The Lovely Reckless by Kami Garcia. This is the new paperback edition, which I have to say I much prefer this edition more to the hardcover. Not a fan of the hardcover, but this one definitely appeals to me more. I love the colors and kind of ombre effect it has. This is all about a girl named Frankie who would do anything to forget the past. She's haunted by the memory of her boyfriend's death, and she moves in with her dad, an undercover cop, and transfers to a public school. And then she meets a boy named Marco, who is a street racer with a reputation for trouble, and I'm sure you can guess what comes from there. I know, the trope of the bad boy, and I fall for it every single time. It's bad. Like, I acknowledge that it's not a great trope, but I just sink into that hole every single time. I plan to read this very, very soon. I'll let you know my thoughts on it. It reminds me of the synopsis of Crash Into You by Katie McGarry, my favorite book by hers. I'm not a fan of all her books, but Crash Into You, I love that book, so we'll have to see how this one does. Book Swoon Read sent to me is Internet Famous by Ika Stone. This is all about a girl named Madison who's an internet sensation, and she has a pop culture rewatch site that has a massive following. It says, and now Laurent, a fellow geek and unfairly hot French exchange student, has started flirting with her in the comments. But Laurent's not the only one watching for her responses, so it's kind of like falling in love on the internet where like everyone can see it. Like it's not just like, you know, your dating site where it's just you two talking. It's like everyone could see your comments or responses. So it's all about that. It's all about being internet famous, which, you know, definitely pulls into the time of YouTube and things like that. So it sounds really, really adorable and very, very relevant. That is for sure. The next book Disney Hyperion sent to me, and that is Wild Man by J.C. Geiger. This is all about Lance, who was a senior valedictorian, and his car breaks down like kind of in the middle of nowhere, and he has no cell phone service, and he's like, I'll be fine. I'm a high school valedictorian. I got this. So he just really picks up odd ends and he picks up odd jobs and things like that to like make it, I want to believe. It's all about this like this road trip adventure, which I love those books. Like I love road trip adventures. So then I have Until It Fades by Katie Tucker. Tria sent to me, and I have already read this book. I will probably do a review on it closer to the release date. It comes out on June 27th. This is my second Katie Tucker book that I've read, and I didn't love it. It was okay. It wasn't that amazing. It's about a girl named Catherine who works at a truck stop. She's just trying to raise her 4-year-old daughter and just trying to keep out of herself out of media because things have happened to her in the past that had a lot to do with TV and things like that. And then one night she witnesses a car crash and she saves a man that was about to get, like his car's about to go on fire, and she saves him, and it turns out to be this really famous hockey player, and they of course start to fall in love, and she has to deal with being on the media more, and she's trying to avoid that. It was, like I said, it was an okay book. They say like this is kind of like a Cinderella vibe, which I definitely get, but I just wanted more from it. I felt like it was very, very long, but not much happened, sad to say. But either way, thank you so much to H3 Books for sending me this. Then the last 3 books HMH Teen sent to me. They sent to me 3 of their fantasy books. The first one being Ever the Hunted by Erin Summerhill. This is like, I think, a Snow White retelling, I want to say. And I think this is the first book. Yeah, I think this is like a Snow White retelling. I'm hoping. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be. So I don't want to know too much about it, but I think, like I said, it's Snow White retelling, and the cover, so shiny. The last 2 books they sent to me are Into the Dim by Janet B. Taylor, and as well as Sparks of Light by Janet B. Taylor. This one does not come out till, I'm not sure, August. These are the first 2 books in a series. I've heard of this book. I don't know much about it, but I've heard of it. Oh, this is about time travelers. So I think this girl, Hope, is going to be a time traveler, and so she has to save her mom, and she has to join a team of time-jumping Indiana Joneses who only have 72 hours to stage a rescue. That sounds pretty awesome. I'm definitely gonna have to check it out. I love time travel books. I don't read far enough of them. Oh, thank you so much to HMH Teen for sending me these. So there you have it. There were all the books that I bought / received in May. Thank you so much to all the publishers who sent me these books, as well as thank you to the book boxes who also sent me these boxes and books. If you've heard of any of these books or read them, please let me know down in the comments which ones you liked, which ones you don't like. I always love to hear your opinions and your thoughts on different books because you guys help me with what I read next. You honestly do. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe to see 3 bookish videos from me every single week. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.